Very good. Very good and very nice. Good. No. Sit. Very good and very nice. Good. Stay. Very nice. Look at you. He is just a sweetie pie, isn't he? Who is it?
I got it.
Hi. Very good. Down. Down.
He knows this, guys.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Sniff
That's
the
where he
floor,
thought-
look away.
That's where he just said, I'm gonna do it, nah, never mind. So that's when a dog shows a hand like it. So if I wasn't sure if he knew it or not, right, I would see that and be like, oh, he knows it, right? But I already know he does.
Yeah, he's done it for us before.
Down.
Not in this room though.
But watch. Good. Also, another thing is I'm keeping the pressure on here, right? So the thing that dogs are used to doing when they come in here is ignoring and then everything goes away, right? So if I was, what he's used to is me asking some stuff and then getting frustrated as a person and then leaving him alone. So that's why you see the time pass and he's like, oh, we're still talking about this? Down. 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 Good boy.
Good boy.
Good.
Yay!
Down. Good.
Yay. Oh, good boy.
Good.
He did it.
Good. Wow. Good. Oh my. Break.
Yay!
Wow.
That wasn't so hard. Oh, get him. Get him, Canelo.
Wow.
He's a sweet dog. But he didn't want to listen.
You don't want to listen.
Look at his
That's
tail.
why we have these long long reps, I guess we're talking. We're back and forth. And what ends up happening is that as time goes on here, the dogs don't play that dance anymore. You just ask them to do something that they do. Because they're allowed to play that dance, they go and they fool around with the consequences until they find out that then it's not worth the consequences, but listening is pretty cool because then everybody's happy with me. Then you get a dog who changes and they want to listen, right? But this is the way that we do it, is we put a dog in a situation where there's context to it, right? Somebody was at the door, we pretended that he made a mistake out of his stay, so I went into a down. There's context that he understands, so he's able to figure out, but within the context of the situation that we set up, this experience that we set up for him, he's a participant. He gets to try, he gets to get the answer wrong, he gets to say, I don't want to do this, he gets to try to run out of the room, he gets to do whatever he wants to do. But I'm there with the control of the outcome. What's the experience he's getting when he's doing A, B, or C, right? But as soon as he does what I ask him to, or let's say he's trying to do what I'm asking him to do, that's really what we really want. We just want a dog who's trying to listen. That's the name of the game. So if he's trying with me, but he doesn't know the answer, he's not getting any punishment. He's just getting direction from me. It's when the dog is trying not to listen is when the punishment comes in, which is just an aversive enough for the dog to want to avoid it. Good. And then showing them The alternative behavior, which abstractly is listening, like that the mechanics of looking at me and listening to me and trying to follow my direction, that's the key component that we're teaching the dogs here. That's the relationship dynamic between us is if I'm talking, you try to listen. That's it. Once we get the dogs there, which is what we call a follower, a dog who you can lead, who follows you, who's already bought into your leadership, then telling them what to do and what not to do is pretty simple. Especially with these commands, because these commands are pretty simple. They already know how to do all of them naturally, they just don't know the words to them, right? So a dog already sits. It's not like you're teaching it to do a cartwheel. It already sits naturally. It already lays down naturally. It already will come to you naturally. It already will lay on the bed naturally. And it already will walk by your side naturally when it wants to. So it's not like these are abstract concepts for the dog. It's just that the dog doesn't want to. Here's the thing about dogs is that they're designed so that you have to work to get. They're designed to push you to see if you're leader material, right? So they're not going to just. Everybody in the pack is just going to say, that guy's the leader, that gal's the leader, right? There's going to be experiences that lead them to believe that, okay? So we have to earn and shape a follower. They don't just come out and it's like, let's go see if this thing will follow me. There's a series of experiences we give them to shape their belief system so that they see us a certain way and so that they go through us to go through the world, right? So if he sees something come through that door right now, if he's my follower and I've done my job right, he's not just going to react to that thing that comes to the door, unless that's what I've trained him to do, which isn't the case. He's going to do this. He's going to look at the thing and then look at me. And then he knows I'm either going to say, stay here or go at it, or go away and let me deal with it. But the point is, he's stopping and looking at me for direction. That's the whole thing. It's relationship, the dynamic in your relationship. Does the dog see you as relevant enough and deserving of being the leader where they actually look to you before they act, okay? So we do this with putting them in situations that are controlled experiences that they understand and using the training, which is the commands, the 5 commands, to show them what we want instead. So these commands become alternative behaviors to the unwanted behaviors, right? So if a dog's a barker at the door or something, we are going to put them in this situation once they learn the recall where they can make choices. So they go up and they rush the door and bark at the door. Great, you made that choice in this controlled experience that feels like real life to the dog. They get corrected for that, recall back to me, and we reset. That's why that recall is important. I can start once we get a recall because then I can put them in situations. And guess what? Reset the trigger in the environment. Knock on the door. The dog doesn't bark. Good. You see what we're doing? We're saying, don't do that, do this. Which, you know, if you're doing it for the first time with your dog, meaning your dog's, you're raising your dog and you know that there's going to be situations where the dog's going to make unwanted behaviors and you're going to have to train them. When they're a puppy and you do it the first time, it's going to be easier than if you wait, right? And then you kind of don't solve these handful of problems, barking at the door, pulling on the leash, not coming with call, these handful of very classic, normal problems. If we don't deal with those and then we're like a year and a half, 2 years, ooh, now we have to go talk to that dog about puppy stuff. We have to like say, hey, we skipped some stuff, so we need to talk about like basic stuff like, I know you're 5, but stay, you know? So the dogs, they don't tend to want to play that game when they're older, so it's a little bit more difficult. Because when they reject you as the leader, it's going to be more intense than when a puppy rejects you, right? Because they're going to test the boundaries. They're going to say, why should I listen? This is what they do with each other. You know what I mean? We've talked about it before, but this is why dogs hump each other when they first meet. It's not just purely, let's say it has a purpose. It serves a purpose. There's a reason why dogs are programmed to have that response. And that is simply so that they can determine a hierarchy without killing each other, right? So if I'm like, Canelo, I don't want anything to do with you, you can have first access to all the things you want, I'm gonna say that you're above me. So if Canelo comes over and tries to check me, and he wants to hump me, I'm gonna let him hump me. Go ahead, Canelo, hump me. Because what I'm telling you is any resource that comes into the environment, I'm saying that you have first access, I'm not gonna mess with you, right? But if I say, no, you ain't gonna hump me, I'm gonna hump you, and we get into a scuffle, the winner of that outcome is going to determine how they behave amongst each other when there's a resource, which is just a desired thing, something I want or need. That could be food, that could be a toy, that could be a couch, that could be going out the door, it could be space, it could be a person, it could be anything that the dog wants or needs. So when we get the dogs in, we talk to them about resources, which essentially is talking about hierarchy. Because hierarchy is just simply who gets the resources, who gets the girl, who gets the food, who gets the kingdom, right? And then what's the pecking order? And typically there's a dog that everybody knows not to mess with, and typically the middle ones are kind of scuffling indefinitely. Unless somebody comes in and says we don't talk about hierarchy like a human. And they say we don't talk about hierarchy here. Here's the rule. We're all equal. You're all equal, and you're all under the humans. Don't talk about hierarchy. No humping, no rough play that's one-sided. It's not consensual. You're bullying just to see who's stronger. We don't let the dogs do any of that stuff, okay? So not to get off track here, I know we're here for training, but it's relationship, always relationship and training together is what's going to give us the good life. Because the relationship is how, our relationship dynamic is going to determine whether or not he thinks he should listen to me, right? That's simple as that. That's something as old as we can remember. Every story in it, it's like you can, one parent, this is typical, right? One parent, the child is not listening to or doing good, and then the other parent's not having that issue, or whatever. Pick your poison, right? The dog's doing it for these people, but not for these people. It's relationship. What is relationship? It's your history of experiences together up to that point, right? So when we're in a situation where I'm like, Canelo, do this or don't do this, he's gonna say, what's our relationship based off the past? What have you done before when you said stop doing this, but I didn't listen? What did you do before when you asked me to do something I didn't listen? If he thinks not much, then he's going to continue to not listen, right? So it's just your history. That's why it's important when we get a dog that we do our due diligence to study to understand how to build the right relationship, because the commands are easy. Everyone thinks it's the commands that solve the problem, but it's not. The commands are just a common language. It's something we understand. He understands that when I say sit, it means put your butt on the ground. When I say down, it means put your belly on the ground. When I say come, it means come. He understands this language. He can read and write, right? But it doesn't mean he's going to listen. How many smart kids do you know go to school that it's easy for them, but they don't listen? You know, everybody knows deep down that that's not really what we're here for. What we're really here for is getting the relationship right and then putting that training on top of that, infusing it together, right? So we have the right dynamic. Look, I mean, he hasn't made a sound. This is the thing. When they decide to be followers, which they're programmed to be able to do, to look at another dog or a person and say, I'm going to follow the direction. He's not thinking, this is how he's not thinking right now, which is how he did think before. Oh, what do I want to do right now? I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to do this. I wish we could do this. Why aren't we doing that? Oh, look at that thing. Now, see, that's all I, me, the dog being very self-centered. What this dog's doing now is he's saying, what would he like? What did he like last time we were in this situation? Oh, he liked it when I did this. So then I look over, I see him doing the thing that I said I liked before, which is our history, and I say, I like that, right? Do that again tomorrow. Do that again next time. In all these situations. So, the most important thing is to make sure that within our relationship, I maintain this beautiful position I have. He's going to do anything for me, right? He's going to try when we're in this dynamic. And that's as simple as making sure that if he breaks known rules, there's a consequence. We're not slipping on that. As soon as he thinks, oh, they don't always correct me. If they're tired, they're not going to correct me. If they're busy, they're not going to make this a learning lesson, right? The dog will gamble when they see the holes in your leadership, right? You run your leadership for a week or two and the dog sees, this is pretty tight, but here and here are some weak spots, the dog will find it. So how we keep ourselves in the right position is we correct for a dog breaking the rules, just things we don't like in general, and we also correct our dog for not listening to us. It's really that simple. But we reward them for when they do this. And when I say reward, you can do a physical, of course. you have to be proud of the dog when you're rewarding them. Good boy, I'm proud of you. You have to take some time and effort to look the dog in the eyes and say, man, what a good job. That goes very far. Give him the attention, 100% of the attention, and saying, look at what you just did, is a huge reward when most of the humans aren't really giving them that much attention like this. The way that I train him, right? The way that I train him, 110% if possible of my brain is on Canelo while I'm with him. I'm not thinking about anything else. It's him and me. That's a reward. That level of just interaction. Okay? He will get food from me. He will get not only his kibble and water, but he will get, when we're resting and stuff, we had a good outing, he will get good treats. Bones, he will get meat, all that good stuff. He will get toys. He will get all this stuff. But when it comes to resources like that, we give, right? We decide when to give, and then we decide when to take away. So what our dogs don't do, this is what they don't do, and this is a slippery slope. He doesn't come to me when I'm either doing nothing or I'm busy and say, hey, Josh. I'm like, what? He's like, can you go get my ball? He doesn't do that. Because what that does sends the message that we ain't really the leader material, right? Well, okay. Once we start becoming pushovers, little things like that. So, for example, if I'm trying to build a relationship with him and he comes up to me from across the room, he just steps up and he comes over to me and just starts nudging on me for something like, hey, can you massage my head, right? Or that, if you think of it as a dog, if I'm trying to be a dog who's trying to take control over this environment, if I'm laying there enjoying the fire and he comes up to me and starts pestering me, what do you think the dog's gonna do? You know what the dog's gonna do. The dog's gonna bite him. The dog's gonna tell him to fuck off, and if he doesn't, he's gonna bite him, right? So what do I do if he comes up to me and starts nudging me? I correct him and say, get out of here. Go, don't do that. It puts them in their place in the relationship. So therefore, when I need you, when we're out in the world, because I can actually have you out there now, and I need you to listen, because this is a situation where I need you, you will, because I hold that, what's the word? Expectation, even when I don't need it. So yeah, we could be in this room. You could break some rules. It ain't gonna kill anybody, right? Like you could go, yeah, I could let it slide. It's not gonna really affect me today. But next week when we're out and about and I need you to listen because there's a dog over there, see, it's about your experience. So the trick with that is like, don't ask your dog to do something or stop doing something unless you're prepared to follow through. Because every time you interact with a dog with intention to get it to do something or get it to stop doing something, and it fails, it tells the dog that you're not relevant. Time and time again, it tells this person's going to try to communicate with you and get you to do things, but it doesn't really matter. So, with my dogs, if Riggins is doing something silly, but it's going to be over in a second, and I'm not going to correct him, it's much better for me just to not correct him at all than to say, Riggins, stop it, and he doesn't stop it, and then me not doing anything about it, Or Riggins, go do this, or go do that, and him not do it, and me not follow through. You see it happen a lot because people are tired, have lives. They start a conversation with a dog, and then like, screw it, I can't right now. There's life's too. So do yourself a favor, use structure. If you don't want to be interacting with your dog and keeping on top of your dog, put it in the kennel. You don't have to worry about a thing. Take it out when you're ready to interact with it. When you're ready to, whenever the dog's out, you got to know that you're ready to correct when it does something that you don't like, and turn it into a learning lesson. Okay? By correcting and directing. This was a long one. Hopefully it's useful. I'm going to let Canelo take a rest. He's been doing really good. And we'll continue tomorrow. Break.